The PILAG event today is WhatsApp, which is something Billy and Tiziano taught me to use, more or less. And it's quite good at sending pictures, better than my iPhone on SMS, because the pictures go on WhatsApp. But anyway, so Billy Brick, Director of the Languages Centre, Tiziano Turvey-Wilson, Jeremy Wilson.
Survey, don't per piacere.
And she is the coordinator for the Advantage provision and teaches Italian with us. And German, Billy teaches German. So over to you for your WhatsApp. And I think we know what we normally do is half an hour, 35 minutes, and some questions, so it won't be the full hour. Okay? So welcome everybody. Yeah, Alex, do come in. And our visiting scholars. Don't say too far, you won't hear.
It sits at the front of everyone. Yeah.
Sorry?
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Welcome everyone. So today we're going to talk to you about our research project and about WhatsApp. And we will start with linking up our previous research to this one because it's an ongoing process. We'll give you an overview of digital literacy, mobile language learning, MAL, and how mobile messaging apps fit into this framework. And then we will give you an outline of our project, which is a pilot project, the findings of the project, and then the future directions that we want to undertake in the long run. Okay?
So, first of all, to talk about our previous research. Some of you will be aware we've been looking at mobile phones now for 3 or 4 years. It started off really with looking at what students were doing in the classroom with their phones. So I'm sure it rings bells with you that they're tapping away on their phones. And then we started looking at augmented reality, which we've kind of put on the shelf at the moment because I think we're a bit ahead of the game. We keep trying to develop an app using augmented reality, but that's not come to fruition yet. So last year I remember Tiziano was going on a holiday and said, "Oh, keep in touch with me with WhatsApp." And I was like, "What? What's WhatsApp?" So she explained, and since then we started looking into it more and realised that it was something that students could download onto their smartphones, irrespective of the platform, and they could practice all 4 skills using it, including sending pictures, video, writing text, listening to messages. So we thought, well, does this have a place in the language learning landscape? So what we're not proposing today is a substitute for what we do in the classroom, but another tool in our arsenal. So first of all, we're going to look at the internet messaging landscape. It's shifting quite a lot at the moment, some of you might be aware. And then we're going to look at our pilot project, which was a treasure hunt, but that was just really a way of establishing the principle that you could use it for language learning. It's not something we advocating its sole use. In fact, we think it could be used in a far wider sphere than that. Okay, this is some quotes from from a recent article in The Guardian in February. Some of you will have heard that Facebook recently bought WhatsApp. So first of all, they're arguing that this is going to be the new platform, the new Facebook. It's going to have that kind of market domination. Not necessarily WhatsApp. WhatsApp is one of a host of similar apps which basically cut down. Those of you who are from overseas, I'm probably teaching Preaching to Converted. All of our students are using one of these. Skype used to be the one which is PC or laptop based, but of course these apps allow you to do the same thing from your phone and more. So they vary. Some of them have an emphasis on gaming. Others, like WhatsApp, are stripped down, no advertising, and it's used for the various messaging types that I explained before. So it was argued that this purchase, a lot of people scratching their heads, why have they bought WhatsApp? What's the purpose? And it's part of this very aggressive war that's going on to get global domination with your brand. As I said, they're all very similar. So I think one of the Asian competitors was sniffing around at WhatsApp, and Facebook came in and said, right, we'll take that out of the equation. That's why they bought it. So yeah, this final quote here talks about how these platforms are likely to develop in the future. So the reason I put these quotes up is to make the point that this is perhaps where things are going at the moment. So rather than following the technology in 2 or 3 years' time, it might be useful to get on now. Before, well, it's changing all the time, but yeah, as you can see here, they're going to be used for social networking, profiles and timelines, entertainment, and then more commercial activities towards the end, your bank account, booking a taxi, and so on. Okay. So just to put a bit of a theoretical framework on it as well, if we look at this slide from JISC from 2014, you can see it actually covers, well, 5, arguably 6 of these digital literacies. Information literacy: find, interpret, evaluate, manage and share information. Well, using WhatsApp, you're doing just that. Media literacy: critically read and creatively produce academic and professional communications in a range of media. Clearly it does that too. Participate in digital networks for learning and research. One of the things I didn't mention is one of the key features of WhatsApp is you can create groups, which is what we did. We'll explain in more detail later for our project. So you're not broadcasting to the world, you can do, but you can broadcast to a dedicated group of, within your contacts list. So you participate in digital networks for learning and research, it ticks that box as well. Learning skills: study and learn effectively in technology-rich environments, formal and informal. This is more informal. IC literacy: adopt, adapt and use digital devices, applications and services. So these are the literacies that JISC identified, and using these internet messaging apps addresses 5 of the 7, arguably 6 if you talk about managing digital reputation and online identity. Okay, so just to put that against Bloom's taxonomy, if you look at the higher order thinking, creating, one of the things we haven't done yet, which again we'll mention later on, is creating, but you can get students using these apps to actually create videos, selfies, or of their friends, and post them via WhatsApp, free of charge if you use the wireless connection. You can use your data plan on your phone as well, but the key thing is that there's no charge if you use the internet. Okay, so
A little quiz now.
So I'm going to put up a few, just spend a couple of minutes talking to your partner. I'm going to put up a few logos of the various companies in the market, and what I'd like you to do is, first of all, tell your partner if you recognise it, and secondly, if you can identify which part of the world it's associated with. It tends to be very regional at the moment, and they all have particular markets, so just spend a minute or two doing that.
So they
You
all
can recognise the logos.
Yes. See if they're all coming up now, so just a couple of minutes, see if you use it, if you recognize it, and where is it used most, which this type of apps, if you are the knowledge of that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so let's see what you... Let's start from the first one.
I'll go back and put them on again.
Yes, we put one at a time, so we see Viber.
Yeah?
Spain. America.
Yeah.
America.
And globally, anyone want to guess how many people have downloaded it? I'm not sure. It's difficult to get statistics on users and downloads. Anyone cast a guess?
8 million.
300 million.
Oh, wow.
That's Viber. Anyone recognise that? Snapchat. Anyone use it? It's big, isn't it? Young people. I can't remember this. See, I've got a teenage son. They all use that. They don't use Facebook as much as they used to. They don't get rid of their profiles. But Snapchat's more for exchanging photographs. But you can annotate the photographs as well. Slightly different to the others, but it's big. I haven't got statistics on that one. Anyone? China, yes. Again, how many people do you think?
500.
500?
500 million.
A million, 200 million I've got. It's probably more than that now. Again, so we're talking between the two of them, 500 million people already. So these are big apps. They're not just niche. You know, everyone's using them.
Kakao still, got installed, massive in Korea.
Massive in Korea, excellent, yes. That's right. Japanese, I think, but massive in Korea. Anyone use that one? WhatsApp, is it?
Bloody Kakao.
Anyone recognise that one?
Line?
Line?
South Korea?
Japan. Japan. Again, I mean, you mentioned people using this. I've heard of it used. A few friends of mine are using it.
Tango, which is nothing to do with the drink.
Okay, US, Europe and the Middle East, apparently, that's its market. And finally, that's the WhatsApp logo. So the point I'm making is, and these are just a small selection, there are loads more of these, and there's a big battle on for global domination. That's what they want, so they'd like to have their brand, obviously, dominating.
Do you have a download figure for WhatsApp?
I haven't actually, no, but again, it's hundreds of millions.
Where's that one from?
WhatsApp is Europe. That's predominantly, obviously, because it's internet, you can contact anyone around the world. But
Very popular in Spain.
Yes.
in Spain, yes, yeah.
In Italy as well. It's extremely popular in Italy. In fact, all my friends and all my family, all the people I know, we just communicate with WhatsApp. And this is what it actually started on.
Yeah.
Our interest in WhatsApp, because what Billy said before. And so what we decided to do was to try to look at WhatsApp a bit more in details and try to find a way to use it with our students. So this is the first part of the project. We say projects 1 and 2 because we started with in the first semester using it with my group in Advantage of third-year students at post-beginners level. And what we decided was to create the activity. Now, rather than create a new activity, as Billy mentioned before, we had started doing the treasure hunt, but we never actually put it into practice. So rather than getting rid of some of the tasks we'd already done, we decided to repurpose the existing activity of the treasure hunt, and this time, rather than using via augmented reality, we decided to implement it into using it with WhatsApp.
We had the sound files imported.
Yes, so the sound files were imported, and this time we were slightly different. So what we did in my group, we met with the students just an hour before the end of the class. And we talked to the students to see if they were interested. That was the first kind of approach. And we had a short briefing, and we talked about their availability, how many phones they had. And what we wanted to do was also not to put any students in a position that, to feel unease if they didn't have an Android phone or a smartphone. So our idea was to put them in groups. So if some students had an old technology phone and they didn't want, or they couldn't use an Android, we decided to put them together in groups. So we talked about that. We obviously went through the process of the ethics. So we just filled lots of forms and talked to the student about them. We made sure that they were all willing to participate to the process. They signed everything, and obviously the BOD, I think you know what this means. Bring your own device. So obviously we asked the student to use their own material, their own phones, sorry. As Billy mentioned, we had to set up groups on WhatsApp, but one of the problems that we encountered straight away, we told the students, yes, okay, we're going to group you, and they decided who they wanted to be with. The first group that we had 25 students, and we divide them. But the problem was that the students, some of them did not download WhatsApp. So we couldn't, we had the phone numbers because obviously with the money that we received from the grant, we had our own new phones for work because we didn't want to use our own personal for obvious reason for the students' exchange numbers. And we had a few hiccups at the beginning because we couldn't trace any of the students with the number, not having downloaded WhatsApp. So that was the first lesson that we learned, that some of them didn't do it, so we had to do it. So we collected all our data from these two groups. The first one, as I said, was a post-beginner year 3, and they were a big group. And then the second group was a post-beginner year 2. And what we did some questionnaires with the students, and then at the end of the experiment, let's call it that way, of the pilot project, we actually did some focus group. Now here these are some of the points that we need to keep into consideration, that we both sort of...
Yeah. So,
Okay.
yeah, on the day.
On the day.
Well, the weather, we were lucky, it wasn't raining on either of the days, which is unusual, so 2 days with no rain.
But we still had complaints that it was very cold.
Yes, we did. And also, the second time it clashed with the graduation ceremony, which we hadn't taken into account. So, sorry, the first time with the graduation ceremony. The second time was all the roadworks. So I was scratching my head when they came back and they said, well, we couldn't do X, Y, and Z. And I was thinking, why not? And then I realised they'd been digging up the road outside the town hall.
Obviously,
So,
this is all related to the treasure hunt, so these are some of the glitches that we encountered.
I think, you know, the treasure hunt was really a way of establishing that it works, so that you can use it for language learning. Because of the amount of time it takes to set up a tour, it's not something I'd recommend. It's very time consuming for what the students get out of it. But yeah, so this is some of the things we didn't take into account. Yeah, we did tell the students if they got stuck, of course they could phone us. It sounded a bit basic, but they could just phone us and say, well, we're stuck here. None of them chose to do that.
WhatsApp, obviously.
Yeah, via WhatsApp, yeah.
Or sending a text or sending an audio message via WhatsApp.
Yeah, and one of the things that happened, we had a debate about an elephant. We'd asked them to take a picture of an elephant. And the one I had in mind when we'd gone round, if you walk the back of the cathedral and down, what's the name of the road?
Hay Lane.
Hay Lane. At the bottom of Hay Lane, on the council, there's a plaque of an elephant.
Onto the wall.
And that's what we wanted them to take a picture of. Anyway, they came back having taken a picture of one of the posts, which has an elephant on top. So I was at pains to try to explain that wasn't the elephant we were looking for. And then thought, I know, let's go on Google Maps and see if we get the street view, if I can actually bring it up on the screen and show them. And I could, it was crystal clear. So without planning, we ended up having a bit of a debate in Italian afterwards in the class about the tour. So it was a sort of springboard to them having more of a free debate in the class and clarifying contentious
Yes,
issues.
one thing that I just want to mention, because some of you did not participate to our talk previously, about the treasure hunt was the students, we briefed them before leaving the classroom, and they actually left with all their phones divided into groups, and they had to follow this path that we directed. The thing was that they had to come out of the university and then listen to the instructions on the app. The very first time, and then we will see more details between the positive and the negatives. In the very first time, they actually followed all the messages. We had downloaded them first in Dropbox. So we sent all the messages together. And they found it a bit confusing because they were bombarded by all the messages all at once. So in the second part of the pilot project, the second time with the second group of students, we took into consideration their comments, and we said, okay, we will re-record sound files, and we will send one at a time. So they were actually leaving. It was like a sort of live situation. They were coming out of the building, and as soon as they got down, they got the first message in Italian that they had to carry on from their position and reach the cathedral. And once they were in front of the cathedral, the first task, still via a message, was to take a picture of the angel on the cathedral. And then they had to go up the steps, and they had to count the steps and then they had to turn on the left and go up the other steps, count how many steps. Now all these things were all divided, were all tasks designed to revise and reinforce all materials that we had done in class. So was obviously revision on directions, go straight, turn right, take the first, take the second, or whatever. It was to revise numbers, because they had to count how many steps they did. Then they had to reach the tourist information office, and they had to look at the timetable, and they had to take a picture first, and then they had to send us a vocal message telling me, and both, but obviously in Italian, the exact time of opening and closing of the tourist information, and which day, for example, on the Sunday or on the Saturday, which different times they had. So it was also, you know, revision of a lot of linguistic competences that we had previously studied together. And then they would have carried on and complete the tour, going all the way around, as Billy mentioned, around the council house. There were roadworks, so we had a few problems. On the way back, obviously, as Billy mentioned, we sat them down, we had a discussion, they were all very excited, they were all very happy. And then we, after the previous, the initial discussion, we decided to have a focus group. And these are some of the comments that actually we extrapolated from the focus group. And most of the students, the response were very positive. All of them, all the students in both groups, they said it was lots of fun. There was applied use of language, and this was very nice. Also made me want to be better at Italian, because when they had to send some messages, there were a bit of there was a hesitance there, and they was like thinking, and then they said, oh no, I'll send you again, and then they send another message with the correction, and they corrected themselves. So it was very, very good. Yeah. And the fact that the working group as well was really teamwork, and they enjoyed that very much.
Perhaps what's one thing to add there is that one of the nice things about WhatsApp in particular is that to record, you simply put your thumb on the record button, speak and release, and it goes. So it's very, very easy to use. There's no pause button, there's no start button.
Exactly.
Very easy to use.
And again, the second time that we did this, it was very, very good, because they sent us the first message, and immediately, because we didn't send all the files all at once, but we were sending them one by one, the good thing was that I could actually reply immediately. So from the classroom, they sent the first message, and I commented, and I praised them, or I corrected them, or if they were confused for any reason, I gave instructions to them or what to do. A group, for example, forgot to do something, and then they came back, they sent a message, and they asked something, and I gave an immediate. So it was an immediate feedback. And as we said, it was very good, because we worked on all the skills, listening, speaking. They had to read something and to practice writing, because they send a text message as well. Again, excellent practice for all the skills. They said they liked it much more than using Moodle, because of the fact that it was immediate, they had an immediate response. It was convenient because it was on the phone, they were walking, they didn't have to have, you know, the laptop or all the problems that sometimes you encounter going into Moodle. It was as well good because they thought about if we were in Italy and we got lost, this is how to ask also for directions. So it was a real life situation rather than follow the usual map that you can give in a class and say, oh, imagine you here, where would you go from here there? They were actually engaging in a more sort of more modern, let's say, way of doing. And also this was very nice comment, made me more aware of the fluidity required when responding to questions. This is again of positive. Obviously we had some negatives, and the negatives was the background noise, because when we were sending the files one by one, they were in the street, so it was a sort of background noise that could, with the roadworks, but it was something that wasn't such a big deal. And the sequence of instructions, despite we sent them, what happened was that some of the students on WhatsApp, it didn't say exactly the real sequence. So you used to, the color was disappearing, so they didn't know if it was, which one was coming first. Or so we decided that we're going to leave a longer gap and give more numbers.
Actually and wait for the responses to come
back before we send another message. And some of the Yes, the technical issue that we encountered, and Billy can
Okay.
talk about this very quickly.
So yeah, one of the issues is of course having anonymity. You don't want to be using your personal number for doing things like this. There seems to be a general reluctance in the. I think it's probably in all universities, so I won't directly criticise the faculty. But buying hardware. I mean, if any of you have been involved in trying to get a laptop out of them, or well, in our case, a phone, it took us to get awarded this technology grant before we could buy a phone. Because we wanted to get cracking on the project, what I did was bought a new SIM card and put it in my old phone. The result was that I just lost all my apps. I thought, I'm not doing that again. And also, it's a bit messy having to keep switching them over. So one of the other things was the, which again, I found out the hard way, was I needed an SD memory card to make WhatsApp work. It didn't work without one on the phone that I had, at least. So the first one I got given was about 3 years old. It wasn't a state-of-the-art phone. Fortunately, I've now got hold of a Samsung Galaxy 4, which is yeah, also now become old-fashioned.
All technology is
so quickly.
as far.
One of the perennial problems we've had with wireless connections, that was I had to go out of the classroom. We were sat in the classroom doing messages, and I had to get up and walk out of the classroom to get a signal to receive the message off the students.
Yeah, but
I've been reliably
time.
informed that that's getting upgraded over the next, well, the foreseeable future. I look forward to it. And also, we had a problem installing it on this old phone again. Without having the GPS activated, it wasn't allowing us to install WhatsApp. So there were lots of teething problems
to
start with, yeah. The students, though, didn't need any help. No one asked for any technological support, and no one even mentioned the data charges. I mean, that might be different if we were getting up to produce videos, but you know, the way you could work it so that they're on campus if you're doing something outside the classroom, so that they can pick up the wireless. Therefore, there's no cost. There was no. I have read that some students like to keep their phones separate from what they're doing in college, but no one even mentioned that. It wasn't an issue.
Just the battery life, they obviously runs out a bit faster.
Yeah.
And maybe some of the improvements that we're looking at is, as I said, to record the sound files. We did it already from Dropbox directly. Timed, we gave them a time, but it was not exactly because of all the extra inconvenience that we encountered was not respected. What we're thinking about is incorporating short videos also from us, so record some videos for the students as well. And an idea would be just to turn around and ask the students to create some of the tasks as well, and not just being teacher-led, but also active participation from students. It could be treasures hunt or tasks. And as far as the future directions, as we can just sort of talk about it together.
So first of all, we thought it'd be good. In one of the issues, I taught post-beginners for the first time this year, and I realised afterwards I had to spend a lot more time in the classroom getting them to speak. The speaking test was, disappointing. So I thought this is something that we could maybe set tasks against the chapters in the book, which they get sent if they want to. They can opt in into a group on WhatsApp, and that you can send them a message saying, right, send me a short video talking about your family. Just an example. So we're going to roll this out over Italian, some German classes, and Spanish next year.
And obviously, you already mentioned the selfie and the support from. This is Isa over there.
Yeah, well, just before that, we're going to. One of the things we talked about, for example, was getting them to do an interview outside the Transport Museum and sending that, some kind of real life. Ish situations.
And also, as we talked about it with Isa, and Isa is doing a dissertation, a master dissertation on WhatsApp. So we were thinking of joint forces, and also because she's thinking about supporting students on the year abroad in Spain, then we are thinking of doing a project on a bigger scale together, starting from next year, and working and linking it up. With their support as well.
Okay, so finally, just a little graphic again from JISC in 2011. I think if you think about what we've been talking about, using these internet messaging apps integrates digital literacies into the curriculum, potentially involves students in designing their own learning, integrates technologies into learning places and prepares students to study with technology. Okay,
That's it.
any questions?
Thank you very much. On time. I'm going to set off the question. I've got 3. Can I?
You have. Please.
Well,
Shoot.
WhatsApp is free year 1, but then you have to pay year 2. So that's an issue. But you know, wait before you
Yeah,
answer
I think
that
it's something like 69 pence.
It's less than that, and then sometimes it's also just while it's fresh in the mind. You can also sometimes, when for example, my WhatsApp ran out after 1 year, and they said, would you like to renew? I said later, and then after a couple of days, I just got a message say, okay, because you're using WhatsApp so much, this is free for another year. So it's not necessarily just after 1 year. You can also have it, but then it's between 50 and 60 pence. So I don't think it's a big issue. A year, yes, that's it.
I think the thing about WhatsApp is nice about WhatsApp is they don't have any adverts.
Yes, well.
There's nothing on there to distract from its functionality.
Not yet.
Not yet, no. Well, I mean, they charge a small amount. 300 million times 60 pence is enough money to put bread on the table.
The second thing is the ethics of students going around taking pictures with possible people from Coventry.
No people, there are no people involved, there are only monuments.
I know, but you have to make sure you inform staff and students that
Yes,
there shouldn't be any people unless
It was
we sign
approved.
all the
It
rigmarole.
was approved and we've done and we explained and it was approved by Marion, so it's been
No, I'm
done.
just saying if you want to disseminate and have more people involved.
Oh yeah, definitely. No, I said we
Yeah.
follow the procedure for ethics and it was submitted and approved, so without any
And
glitches.
the other thing in your last slide, really,
Yeah,
is, which I might want to borrow for my talk 2 weeks time,
you can borrow it.
but you're missing the variable of the digital literacies of the tutors, because you know I didn't even notice there was a microphone until you just said.
Okay. No,
So,
I mean,
you know,
yeah, you're right. So
I'm on
something.
WhatsApp. I never realised I could record voice on it.
Yes, you
No.
can send
So, you
messages.
know,
So you can actually, I mean,
probably know, I
that's
don't.
one of the nice things. You can record your voice. And
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my question. I use WhatsApp and I use the video record because it's faster than texting.
Yes.
How long can you get on it? How long
I'm
do you
not
go
sure there's a
for?
restriction. I don't know. The video side of it we haven't played with yet, have we?
No,
As I
for
say.
the video we haven't as yet, but I don't think there's a very...
I think
there
there's
should
a 20 meg limit on video.
Is there? Right, it's quite a lot.
That's trying to call
I just do
people.
Yeah,
that if it was like
okay.
a minute or something like that.
Yeah.
So, and it depends obviously what you do, but yes, definitely it's very, very fast. You're perfectly right there. That's why most of the people use that, because it's faster than texting. And you can send an immediate message and you can receive an immediate, either vocal or video straight away in a matter of seconds.
And you can see if the person's actually typing a reply.
Yes, as well.
Yeah.
You can see in the phone if it's online, of course, and then when they're replying, you can see typings. Yes, and you can see they're actually listening, talking to you at the same time, not ignoring. Yes, Mila.
Ethics.
Ah.
We should know this, but anyway, if we want our students here to talk to students already in the year in a row, do we need to
Yeah.
Yes, and so what's easier?
Even though it's-
Well, if you're doing it, it depends if you're doing it as a research project.
If you're researching, if your aim is a
No,
dissertation,
It's just for class.
In that case, I wouldn't have thought so.
No, it's not to use.
You might want to seek some direction from the ethics experts.
now if you want to carry out, it's just, you know, once you've collected and done that, if you want to analyse the data,
Yeah.
then yes,
Yeah,
you
so
have
it's
to
better to
have
prepare that in case later. Yeah.
at least with a disclaimer that this material might be used for research.
Yeah, I
somewhere,
know.
you know.
I mean, perhaps one of the things we didn't say, which I was thinking about this morning, was it's kind of replaces some. Well, it doesn't replace it. It's a different way of doing some of the stuff we used to do with Nanogong and with Wimba, you know, voice tools.
But it's
Yeah.
all
No, I mean, so the
technology
difference
and-
is it's in your pocket. You've got the immediacy. You don't have to log into Moodle.
And also, what's the other nice things if also students emphasized on it was, you know, breaking down the classroom walls and go out of the building and do something that is not always in the class. And also, in a way, is sort of encourage the students for being more autonomous in the way of learning. And they come up, in fact, they were all excited, they come up with ideas, and some of them also, they find apps and they come and talk to me in the class and they say, oh, I found this, what do you think? And we had some students also evaluating, and this is for another kind of avenues that we want to explore, is looking at various apps and evaluate them. as well and see what is most suitable for students
But-
for a way
but
for
there is
language learning.
a kind of split between sort of dedicated language learning apps like Busuu and Duolingo. There's lots more of them, and apps which you can use for language learning. So like voice recorders, even things like telling students bring in photographs of your family. You can do that on the phone now. It replicates that. So yeah, there's kind of two different approaches. One using bespoke built software and another one using tools which weren't necessarily designed for language
And
learning.
what you just said, Billy, I think we should get, because I've actually been observing a few advantaged classes this year, and I think we're still, dinosaurs, and we need to move forward. So could we organise a half a day of training?
Yeah, of
for all
course.
Yes,
the
of course.
tutors?
Or using WhatsApp.
Training
Well, and other things.
And other
yeah.
things we
Because,
could do
this
that.
reliance on badly produced sheets and course books, which are really not very good. You can still use them.
Yes,
but you can
but
also do innovative things.
yeah, that's what we say. We
Yeah.
use this as not as a substitute to everything, but just another tool to use. Yes, we'll be very happy to do that.
We need to move on.
We can organise a day of training or a way day for us as well.
Training, yeah.
Yes, Sheila.
You had a slide with of different types of literacies from JISC,
Yeah.
and you talked about this media literacy. And how does that? Where does the media come in? Does this allow you to access?
But it's in a range of media, so I'm using text messaging, photographs, video, audio. So it allows you to practice all 4 skills. That's one of the nice things about it. It's not restricted. You can use it for a very long piece of text.
I was sorry. I was thinking.
Think of something.
Yeah.
Being able to critically evaluate, what you read in the newspaper.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
not
perhaps
at all. It's not that. It just means indifferent.
Yes, in this kind of
But it
context,
says, but it
yes.
says read and produce, doesn't it? So yeah,
So-
you're right. We're both right.
No, I misunderstood that. Thank you.
So how many students in one group is preferred?
Sorry, how many students?
In one group, so you said divided students?
Yes, we divided students because it depends how many students enroll for the class. So they all participated. I did ask, I said if anyone would like not to participate in this activity, you also, is acceptable. But they all say no, we all want to do it. So they were, oh, it wasn't what you were asking.
No, you meant how many
Oh,
per
sorry.
phone?
Yes, how many one?
Oh, I had the phone.
No, how many students per phone?
Yes.
About 3?
Depends on the groups again.
Yeah.
It depends on the group.
3 or 4
3 or 4
maximum.
depends on the amount of students in the classroom. Sorry, I
How about just
apologize.
16
But-
students in one classroom?
Yeah, the good
So
thing
is it
about
possible?
doing it as group work is that that minority of students who don't have a smartphone aren't isolated. They can work with.
But we
somebody
did
else.
yeah, sorry.
I think normally 3 is thought to be good. 2 is too few.
Yes,
Yeah.
3 or
Person
4
does
we
it.
just
There has to be
with
enough that there's discussion, doesn't
Yeah.
there? So
Yes.
I mean, if you
That's
have different
I think
experiences,
the group was 3 minimum, 4 maximum. We didn't go over that. And the thing that I actually emphasized to the students was that when they were sending vocal messages, I said, despite you work as a team, I want each of you to send something. So there was a pre-rule before they left the room. I said, I don't want one person sending me the messages all the time. I don't want one person. And then obviously within the pictures, and I said, and I know you well, and I recognize your voices. So they were all sending different messages. There was no way of escaping from that.
But one of the things we thought about when we were thinking about producing these tasks for the Advantage was being sent stuff at 3 o'clock in the morning, and when you would actually respond. So we decided we'd tell the students
Yes.
if we were to do that we would respond at a particular time every week to their
On that day,
messages
at that
rather than-
particular time.
Because
so.
if you think about it, 25 messages, 3 minutes long, it's not a short task responding to all them. Although on WhatsApp, it's a lot quicker than it is
Yes.
on other forums.
Yes.
forums.
Obviously, for the treasure hunt was a different thing, but this is in the long run thinking about the activities. We have dedicated hours that we can meet up together both for, and then obviously if Spanish will join us, we'll be split.
But of
into-
course, if any of you are
Mila
thinking of
says
doing
yeah,
this,
as well.
you need to approach the faculty
Brilliant,
for
yes.
a smartphone.
Students going next year to the Euro.
Yes, exactly, for the year abroad as well. As I said, that we're going to link it on a different angle with ISA, and we discussed this at length already. Exactly, yes, exactly. That is. And it will be also from a social point of view, academic point of view. We're going to give information and use this through this messaging service. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
For